Well, let me ask my question, and then we'll ask you about Dominion too. But I just want to understand. So we had the Antrim County Clerk in here, and we had her testify earlier this, in the last few weeks. And one thing that I found from her testimony is that she seemed not to be very well trained. Her clerks locally did not seem to be very well trained, and they basically they didn't seem to know how to work their machines. They didn't seem to run the proper tests from the testimony that would have discovered the mistakes. And then when the election happened, and we saw this 6,000 votes that went for Biden, and Congressman Bergman found that and reported it, and then they looked at it, and they said, "What happened here?" And she said it was a technical glitch or whatever she said. Well, that came from her office, and now a few days later or whatever it was, she alleged it was human error, and that's what she said later. So based on that, I mean, what we have to go on in this committee is the testimony we've heard. And based on what she said, that looked like it was human error. If we go off what she said that the tape matched. She said this would have been discovered in a canvas because the tape matched. So I just wanted to hear if you have knowledge of this, if there's anything you can speak to on this, because that was the conclusion that I had come to after hearing her, that this was limited to Antrim County. And again, like I said, Dominion won't come in, so I don't know more. But I know in Antrim County, it sure seemed like the clerk there didn't know what she was doing, and that caused a lot of this problem and confusion. So can you tell us more about what you've learned and address that for me? Thank you.
Yes, our forensics team went up to the Central Lake Township.
And can you clarify, is that in Antrim County?
It is in Antrim County.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
and this was included in the forensics report on Central Lake Township in Antrim, Michigan. The report date was November 29th, 2020. And on the 27th, the ASOG forensics team, which is Allied Security Operations Group forensics team, visited the Central Lake Township in Michigan. The clerk presented to two separate paper totals tape from the tabulator with the identification number ID2, tabulator ID2. One was dated poll opened November 3rd, 06/38/48, which was roll 1. And the second dated poll open November 6, 2020, 09/21/58, which was roll 2. She was asked, Ms. Kozlowski.
I ask you, what does that mean? So was one, what were the two dates?
The
were
actual
two tapes?
poll date, November 3rd, and then the second on November 6th.
And there were two tapes.
Two tapes. They ran the ballots and printed roll 2. She was asked by the county clerk's office to come in and do a retabulation on the 6th.
Okay, so there was a one run through and a ticket printed, and we went through that with the clerk. There's a ticket that shows the result.
Correct.
On November 3rd on Election Day.
Then a retabulation.
On November 6th.
Correct.
And you're saying that was ordered by the county clerk?
By the county clerk's office. She said she was notified by Connie Wing of the county clerk's office and asked to bring the tabulator and ballots to the county clerk's office for retabulation.
Okay, so what did you find when you looked at that?
They ran, roll 1 had a total of 1,494 total votes. Roll 2 had 1,491 votes. They had three less ballots because 3 ballots were damaged in the retabulation process. So Ms. Kozlowski said that she and her assistant manually refilled out the 3 ballots, curing them and ran them through a ballot counting system. But the final numbers did not reflect the inclusion of those 3 ballots. So the shifts in the votes from tape 1 or roll 1 to roll 2, on election night, President Trump received 566 votes. Vice President Biden received 340 votes. On the recount, Trump had 1 less vote at 565, while Biden was unchanged at 340. The other areas on the down ballot where we saw a lot of different number shift was a proposed ordinance to authorize marijuana and then a retail establishment within the village of Central Lake. So those were the ballot proposal to authorize marijuana went from not passing to passing by shifting votes and removing when the recount, the 3 ballots were not counted, the proposal passed with 1 vote. And then for school board, even though this was a ranked voting, and the top 2 apparently were going to be elected, there was a significant number of votes. There were 742 votes added to this total. Between the election, there were 1,068 votes, and then on the recount, there were 1,810 votes that showed 112 write-in candidates. The school board member shifts were significant, as well as there was a change in the state proposal 20-1. There was a change in those numbers. So the way that works, the township clerk was given 2 compact flashcards as a security key. One of the compact flashcards is known as the ISD card. So it goes into the administrator slot, and then the CF card goes into the poll worker slot. And then there's a security key that's used on the security key. So Ms. Kozlowski was given the cards that were in proper retention and reran the tapes. The difference in the administrator card, which is the software load, the poll numbers were pretty much the same, but votes in between those 2 runs shifted. So there's a discrepancy in the forensics.
How did you find that?
The discrepancies?
Huh?
In the actual tapes, in the tabulation
one
tapes.
machine?
One machine, yes.
It made that many mistakes?
They made a lot of mistakes.
Did it do anything right?
It kept pretty close to the other votes, but it did not meet with the standards of the
pretty
Federal
typical of a
Federal
Dominion
Election
machine?
Commission. We have not examined forensically in this election more than this machine. It's pretty much been blocked.
So
It's definitely is far outside the limits of the 1 in 250,000 vote error rate.
So
Based
just
on that, would you want to examine more machines?
Yes, sir.
just to understand, so what the clerk has said is that, and I heard you say there were 2 tapes, and then you kind of went through how there were some differences on the 2 tapes. What the clerk has said is that there was a problem basically with the way the count was displayed on the website, but that when they looked at the tape, that the count was accurate, and that would have been caught in the canvas. Do you agree with that, or do you disagree?
So the votes were canvassed on election night according to Ms. Kozlowski and approved, and for some reason that she did not know, she was asked to come back in to redo. She says on this is the declaration of Ms. Judith L. Kozlowski, and it's signed and dated, and this declaration is under penalty of perjury. She said on November 5th, I was contacted by, on election night, we close the polls after the absentee ballots have entered into the tabulator. We take our ISD cards to the machine and take them, the security fob, and the results of the electronic poll book to the county clerk's office that night. She said, I received my ISD cards when I went to the county building and received my precinct kits from Connie Wing prior to the election and never received nor was made aware of an update, as I did not need any updates. On Thursday, November 5th, I was contacted by Connie Wing of the county clerk's office and asked that I bring my tabulated locked ballot container and tabulator to the clerk's office for retabulation. Because of time constraints, a retabulation did not occur, and I was asked to return on Friday, November 6th. I was given the ISD cards and security fob. We set it up, and the retabulation began at 9. We finished at 8:55. The retabulation was done in the presence of the Antrim County Board of Canvassers and the Antrim County Sheriff, along with the Deputy Clerk, Patricia Marshall. At the completion of the retabulation, all the voted ballots from November 3rd, I asked that the Board of canvassers was ready for me to close the poll and run the tally tape, which I did. It was at this time that I noticed a number of votes cast on November 6th had changed from the tape on November 3rd. So I stated to the board that the numbers had changed. The board did not respond to my comment. To this date, I still do not know why Central Lake Township was the only township that had to retabulate. Other township clerks asked me why I had to do this, and I could not explain. And that is item number 5 on her declaration. So that's what I know.
Okay, thank you. We'll now